Everyone thinks strength means fighting back, but real power begins the moment you stop reacting. The calm one in chaos isn't weak. They're the one quietly taking control of everyone else's energy. The world never stops moving. It spins with noise, urgency, and reaction. Everyone is chasing something, replying to something, proving something. The faster it moves, the more people mistake motion for strength. But real power is not found in how fast you react. It's found in how calm you stay when everything demands a reaction. Grace under pressure begins when you stop running at the same speed as the chaos around you. You no longer try to match the noise, you start to master it by refusing to be pulled into it. The calm person looks slow to the frantic, but what they really are is deliberate. They see what others miss because they are not blinded by panic. When others rush to fix the surface, they understand the roots. The calm mind sees 10 moves ahead because it is not clouded by emotion. This is why stillness feels like strength. It is not the absence of movement, it is the presence of control. Pressure reveals everyone's true nature. Some crumble under it, some explode, and a few remain still. Those few look unbothered, almost detached, but inside they are composed, aware, and calculating. They understand that tension is not their enemy. It is their test. The calm person is not the one who avoids pressure, but the one who uses it to sharpen their edges. When chaos rises, most people think they have to react to prove they are capable. But reacting fast is not the same as acting with purpose. The one who can hold their energy, who can wait for the right moment, who can breathe when others break, always ends up leading. People follow calmness because it feels safe. It feels like certainty in a room full of doubt. Grace under pressure isn't just about emotion, it's about presence. When you stay composed, you start to control how others feel. Your calm becomes contagious. The louder people get, the more your quiet power stands out. They start to look at you for cues, to borrow your steadiness, to trust your judgment. Without saying a word, you become the center of the room. That's the invisible shift most people never notice. Control doesn't come from trying to manage everything. It comes from managing yourself so well that everything else starts to adapt to you. The calm person becomes the pace setter. The world slows down around them because they refuse to speed up. In moments of pressure, the calm person is not numb, they are aware. They see emotion, but they don't serve it. They listen, but they don't rush to reply. They feel the weight of expectation, but they don't let it crush their clarity. This kind of grace is rare because it requires discipline. It's easier to react than to reflect, easier to prove than to pause. But the pause is where power lives. When you can hold silence instead of scrambling for answers, when you can breathe instead of bursting, when you can stand still while others stumble, you become something stronger than confident. You become composed, and composure is command. When tension rises, most people lose control without even realizing it. Their faces change, their tone tightens, their body gives away what their mind tries to hide. The human brain is wired to look for those signals. In every high-pressure moment, people search for clues about who is confident and who is afraid. That is why stillness is so powerful. The one who stays calm when everyone else shows emotion immediately becomes the center of gravity in the room. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means holding your ground so firmly that others start to orbit your calm. It's not passivity, it's control. It's not silence born of fear, it's silence chosen with intent. Every leader, negotiator, and strategist who understands human nature knows this truth. The mind that doesn't flinch wins before the words even begin. Stillness is a signal of certainty. When you don't react, you show that you are not threatened. That single message changes the dynamic completely. People might not say it aloud, but they feel it. They start to treat you like someone who knows more, someone who has already decided how things will go. In that way, calmness becomes a silent form of authority. Most people mistake motion for control, thinking that the one who talks the most or moves the fastest must be leading. But real influence comes from whoever can slow the energy down. The still person shifts the entire emotional temperature without saying a word. The louder the chaos grows, the more magnetic the calm becomes. Psychology works like mirrors. When you are tense, others feel your tension and mirror it back. When you are steady, they mirror that too. Stillness disarms people because it reflects their noise back to them. They start to feel their own anxiety instead of yours. They begin to question why they are rushing, why they are overreacting. Suddenly they look for your reaction to measure what is real. That's the secret most never see. The calm person doesn't need to control others directly. They control the emotional space that others depend on. This is why stillness feels like dominance. It's subtle, invisible, and unstoppable. In relationships, at work, or in conflict, the still person becomes the reference point. When everyone else argues or panics, their quiet confidence pulls attention. People start to think before they speak around them. They lower their tone. They soften their energy. They don't even know why. It's because stillness feels like strength, and strength feels like safety. That emotional chain reaction is what turns calmness into power. The one who doesn't rush to prove, defend, or explain begins to look like they already know how the story ends. Stillness is not natural at first. It's trained. It comes from learning to sit inside discomfort without escaping it. The more you practice staying calm, the less chaos has power over you. You stop chasing control and become it. That is the psychology of stillness, and it's the quietest form of dominance there is. Every situation where people clash or compete is really a battle for emotional control. It may look like words or opinions, but underneath it, every argument and every negotiation is a fight for who sets the tone. The person who defines the emotional temperature decides how everything else unfolds. Most people don't realize this and end up giving away control without meaning to. They let their pulse, their anger, or their anxiety decide their behavior. They speak faster, their voice rises, their hands move too much, and in that moment, they lose the frame. The one who stays calm, who doesn't rush to explain or prove, instantly becomes the authority. People start reacting to their rhythm. That's what the silent frame is about. It's not about avoiding conflict. It's about controlling it by staying emotionally centered while everyone else burns their energy trying to get you to move. Silence is not emptiness. It's a pause filled with power. When you use silence in the middle of conflict, people feel its weight. They start to fill it with their own emotions. They talk more, they reveal more, they stumble trying to justify themselves, while you stay still and composed. The quiet between your words becomes your weapon. It slows down the chaos and exposes who is insecure. Silence doesn't just calm the scene, it forces people to reveal what they truly think. The weak use noise to hide fear. The strong use silence to expose it. That is how you control the frame. You decide the pace, and the pace becomes power. Grace under pressure isn't politeness, it's precision. It's knowing when to speak and when not to. When you stay silent at the right time, the world has no choice but to adjust to your rhythm. People start measuring their tone by yours. The loudest one in the room begins to look childish, not confident. The aggressive one begins to look desperate, not dominant. The calm one, the one who uses few words and long pauses, becomes the one everyone pays attention to. Because in that silence, there's mystery. And mystery makes people cautious. No one wants to attack what they can't read. That's why stillness always beats noise. When you control the emotional frame, you stop reacting and start directing. You let others waste energy while you conserve yours. You let them reveal themselves while you observe. Even in disagreement, your silence tells a story. It says you are not shaken. It says you see through the noise. It says you decide what matters and what doesn't. Most people think winning is about being right, but in truth, it's about being calm enough to make others adjust to you. The silent frame is what separates those who get dragged into chaos from those who make chaos stand still. The world cannot overpower the one who has mastered his own tone. That's the real meaning of grace under pressure. It's silence that suffocates noise. Pressure has a way of finding anyone who steps into the light. The moment you start standing out, the world begins to test you. People will question your motives, challenge your work, and poke at your confidence. It's not personal, it's the cost of visibility. When you're unseen, no one cares. But once you rise, every move becomes a target. The mistake most people make is thinking that pressure means they are doing something wrong. They see it as punishment, but in truth, it's proof that they are getting close to power. Pressure only visits those who matter, and that's why learning how to handle it separates the strong from the unstable. When heat rises, Most people fight it. They rush to defend themselves, to prove they can handle it, to fix every misunderstanding. But the ones who master pressure don't fight the fire. They use it. They let it refine their control. When you stop fearing pressure, it becomes leverage. It becomes the energy that forces everyone else to reveal who they really are. When someone attacks you, they show their insecurity. When someone doubts you, they show their limits. Every challenge you face is a mirror. It reflects not just your strength, but their weakness. You only lose when you react emotionally. The one who stays calm becomes the quiet judge of the room. Grace under pressure is not about avoiding stress. It's about absorbing it and turning it into direction. Like steel in heat, you don't melt, you harden. The more people push, the more centered you become. The more they try to rattle you, the clearer you get. Pressure makes the impulsive reveal their lack of control. It makes the confident look composed because composure under fire is rare. Everyone is watching how you handle discomfort. They don't care about your words as much as your tone. They study your eyes, your breathing, your rhythm. If you can stay still when others tremble, you win long before the results appear. The secret is to stop viewing pressure as a threat. Start seeing it as a filter. It filters out noise, distraction, and weakness. The world is full of people who look strong when things are easy. But when things heat up, only a few stay consistent. That's where credibility is built. Every time you stay calm while others panic, your reputation expands quietly. People start to trust your steadiness. They start to defer to your judgment because they know you don't fold. In that silence, your power multiplies. Pressure is not the enemy. It's the spotlight that reveals true hierarchy. The loudest may look brave, but the calmest are always in control. The one who turns heat into leverage never rushes, never reacts, never lets the crowd dictate their rhythm. They understand that pressure doesn't break you, it broadcasts you, and when you learn to stay still inside the fire, the world begins to move at your command. Most people think being detached means being uncaring, but that's not true. Detachment is not about feeling nothing. It's about not letting emotions control your moves. It's the skill of staying present without being pulled by every reaction around you. When you master detachment, you stop being a puppet to other people's moods and opinions. You start seeing things as they are instead of how they make you feel. And in that moment, your power returns. Because the world is full of emotional traps designed to provoke you. Every insult, every challenge, every guilt trip is a test to see if they can reach your core. When you stay detached, you show that they can't. That's the beginning of true control. People who live in reaction give away their strength without realizing it. Someone mocks them, they argue. Someone ignores them, they chase. Someone doubts them, they explain. Every reaction is a transfer of energy, a signal that says you can be moved. Detachment breaks that pattern. It's not passive, it's strategic. It tells the world that you decide when to care, when to speak, and when to stay silent. You don't rush to fix things, you wait to see which problems fix themselves. You don't chase validation, you let curiosity work in your favor. The less available your emotions are, the more value they gain. People start measuring their words, adjusting their tone, rethinking their approach, because your calmness makes them question their own noise. The detached person doesn't avoid connection, they refine it. They don't invest in every conversation, they invest in what matters. Detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. You start to see manipulation where others see sincerity. You hear pressure where others hear advice. You recognize emotional games before they start. That awareness protects your peace. When someone tries to guilt you, you don't argue. You let their guilt echo back to them. When someone tries to provoke you, you don't rise to it. You let them drown in their own attempt. Eventually they stop, because it's no fun to play with someone who doesn't react. That's when detachment turns into quiet dominance. In relationships, detachment gives you freedom. You stop begging for understanding and start choosing peace. You stop defending your worth and start embodying it. The person who can walk away calmly is always the one with power. Because the more you can detach from needing a certain outcome, the more control you have over every outcome. Detachment makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability makes you respected. You become the calm in every argument, the mirror in every storm, the one who never loses balance no matter how hard someone tries to push. Grace under pressure isn't about smiling through chaos, It's about knowing exactly what deserves your energy and what doesn't. When you stop flinching, stop explaining, and stop letting others dictate how you feel, you stop being a player in their game. You become the one who sets the rules. That's what detachment really is, control disguised as peace. Powerful people don't waste words. They use them like tools. Every sentence they speak has weight because it isn't rushed, it isn't emotional, it's measured. Precision is the language of control. It's knowing that in moments of tension, less is always more. Emotion is reactive. It pours out in waves and gives away what should be kept hidden. Precision, on the other hand, is surgical. It removes confusion, exposes weakness, and closes the conversation before chaos has a chance to grow. When you learn to speak with control instead of emotion, your presence starts to change. People listen differently. They pause before replying. They start to respect your quiet because it's not silence, it's authority. Precision begins with restraint. It's the discipline to pause before responding, to think not about how you feel, but about what you want to achieve with your words. Most people speak to release emotion. The powerful speak to direct energy. They don't explain every thought or defend every choice. They wait until speaking serves a purpose. That's why their words cut deeper. Every phrase lands like a decision. It ends the argument because it carries finality. Noted. Understood. That's your view. These short phrases don't invite more debate. They close the door. They say, without needing to say it, I've heard you, but you don't move me. Emotion expands conflict because it feeds it. When you raise your voice, others raise theirs. When you rush to explain, they push harder. The argument grows like fire fed by air. Precision removes the air. It starves the chaos until it burns out on its own. It's not about being cold, it's about being effective. Anger can win attention, but calm precision wins control. When your tone stays steady, the emotional person starts to look irrational. The more they push, the smaller they appear. The one who remains calm starts to look powerful, even without saying much. Because the truth is, people don't remember who shouted the loudest. They remember who stayed composed. The art of precision is emotional awareness turned into discipline. You can feel everything, but you don't express everything. You learn to channel emotion into clarity instead of reaction. This control changes how you're perceived. Your calm phrases become signals of strength. They tell others you are not ruled by impulse. They tell them you know when to stop talking. You turn every exchange into a mirror that reflects other people's instability. When you lead with emotion, you leak power. When you lead with precision, you command it. The powerful don't win by dominating conversation. They win by directing it. Every word they choose serves a purpose. Every silence they hold is intentional. That is how they stay untouchable. Precision isn't about speaking perfectly. It's about never speaking carelessly. When you master that, your presence becomes sharper than any argument, and your calmest sentence hits harder than anger ever could. There is a certain kind of presence that makes people stop rushing and start listening. It isn't built through volume or status. It comes from calmness that cannot be shaken. The aura of unbreakable calm is rare, because most people are ruled by emotion. When things go wrong, they show it. When people criticize them, they react. When pressure rises, they lose rhythm. But the one who remains still, the one whose tone doesn't waver and whose breathing stays even, becomes something more than confident. They become magnetic. People feel safer around steady energy because it signals control. It says, without words, that everything will be fine because you are not afraid. That's why calmness becomes power. It doesn't shout, it pulls. It doesn't demand authority. It earns it through presence. The calm person changes the emotional weather of any room they walk into. When everyone else is panicking, their composure becomes the anchor that keeps others grounded. Even without speaking, they set a rhythm that others unconsciously follow. This is why leaders who master calmness hold influence that noise can never match. It's not about pretending to be emotionless. It's about mastering emotion so completely that it never leaks in moments that matter. The calm person feels deeply, but they choose when and how to reveal it. Their restraint makes people trust their judgment because it shows balance. When your pulse stays slow in chaos, people assume you know what they don't. They assume strength, experience, and certainty. The illusion becomes real because perception creates authority. Calmness spreads faster than panic when it's genuine. The one who stays composed teaches others how to breathe again. In meetings, arguments, or crises, people start to look toward the calm figure for cues. They follow the quiet voice, not because it's louder, but because it's stable. This is how emotional gravity is built. When your presence steadies others, you stop competing for attention. Attention starts coming to you naturally. Grace becomes the atmosphere around you. People lower their tone when they speak to you. They measure their words. They act more thoughtfully. They can't explain why, but they feel your composure and want to match it. To build that aura, you must train yourself to slow down when others speed up. You must notice your breathing when tension rises. Notice your thoughts when ego pushes to react. It's not about being detached from reality, it's about guiding it. When you can stay calm under fire, every situation becomes easier to navigate. You make better decisions, you say fewer unnecessary words, and you never reveal fear. Over time, that consistency becomes your reputation. People stop testing you because they know it won't work. They stop doubting you because your calmness never cracks. The unbreakable calm is not natural, it's practiced. It's a discipline that turns into energy, and that energy turns into quiet power. When you master it, respect stops being requested, it becomes instinct. Conflict reveals who truly has control. Most people believe winning an argument means proving they are right, raising their voice, or forcing others to agree. But real victory is quieter. It happens in the moment you choose not to react, when you let emotion hit you without moving an inch. Elegance in conflict is not weakness, it's awareness. It's knowing that energy always returns to its source. When you refuse to match someone's aggression, their power fades. When you stay calm, their anger has nowhere to land. It burns itself out while you remain centered. That's why the calm person often wins without fighting. They don't resist every attack, they redirect it. Their restraint becomes their weapon because it exposes everyone else's lack of it. The mistake most people make is thinking confrontation requires confrontation. They think silence is surrender, but it isn't. It's calculation. When you let someone reveal their anger, their insecurity, or their desperation while you stay still, you show the room who really has control. Emotion looks strong at first, but it collapses under its own weight. The louder someone gets, the smaller they appear. The calmer you stay, the more powerful you look. People don't remember every word said in conflict, they remember who stayed composed. That memory becomes authority. The one who doesn't lose their rhythm becomes the one others trust to lead when things fall apart. Elegance in conflict is the art of slowing time. While others rush to speak, you pause. You let silence work. Silence makes people uncomfortable, and in that discomfort, truth starts to surface. They reveal what they really mean, they expose what they fear, and they end up handing you the information you need. You don't interrupt, you observe. You don't need to dominate the conversation because patience already gives you control. In that space, your calm presence turns emotional chaos into clarity. The goal isn't to destroy your opponent. The goal is to outlast them. You win when they lose composure, when they talk too much, when they start justifying themselves. You win when your calmness makes their emotion look unnecessary. Every argument has a rhythm, and the person who stays emotionally steady always ends up conducting it. Even in personal relationships, elegance in conflict separates maturity from insecurity. You don't try to fix every misunderstanding. You let actions speak quietly over time. You let distance do what debate cannot. This kind of grace takes practice. It means breathing when pride wants to speak, observing when anger wants to act. It means remembering that the purpose of control is not to prove strength, but to preserve it. The world will always test your composure, and your reaction will define your reputation. So when conflict comes, stay still. Let others burn energy while you conserve yours. Let them rush while you remain anchored. Because the one who stays calm while others destroy themselves doesn't just win the argument. They own the moment. There comes a point where calm is no longer something you practice. It becomes who you are. You stop trying to look composed because composure is your natural state. You've moved past the stage where pressure feels threatening. It doesn't shake you anymore, it sharpens you. You no longer resist the storm, You exist within it as the quiet center that never moves. People sense this difference immediately. Your energy slows down every room you enter. The tension that makes others stumble only makes you clearer. The noise that distracts them becomes your signal. You've transcended reaction because nothing outside you determines what happens inside you. That is controlled power, not resistance but mastery. At this level, you don't respond to pressure with control, you radiate it. Your presence alone resets the tone of a situation. In chaos, others look to you not because you demand it, but because they feel you already know the outcome. You don't raise your voice to gain authority, your silence gives it to you. You don't chase respect, it forms around you like gravity. People trust your steadiness because it doesn't come from ego, it comes from inner balance. This is the final evolution of grace under pressure, where stillness becomes strength, and strength becomes influence. Controlled power is invisible. It doesn't announce itself or compete for space. It lives in your timing, your tone, your posture, your ability to decide when to act and when to wait. You no longer waste words proving yourself. You've learned that attention follows calm certainty, not noise. The more others panic, the more powerful your calm appears. You understand that real control is not about managing people, it's about managing perception. When others lose their rhythm, your unbroken focus becomes the standard everyone adjusts to. You don't fight to dominate, you let composure lead. That's why the calm person always ends up in control. You also stop needing to win every conflict. You've learned that silence can end a battle before it begins. You don't waste effort defending your name or your image because both are already protected by your presence. The world may test you, provoke you, or try to pull emotion out of you, but none of it lands. You've built an inner structure too stable to be moved. That's what makes controlled power so rare. It's not emotional immunity born from apathy. It's strength built from understanding. You've mastered the art of influence without needing attention. At the highest level, calmness turns into command. You lead without forcing. You teach without preaching. You win without competing. Your very existence creates order. You're not trying to survive the storm anymore. You are the storm's center, unmoved and unbothered. People feel safer near you, not because you promise control, but because you embody it. Controlled power is when you no longer chase balance. You are balance itself, silent, steady, and impossible to shake. Maybe this video helped you see yourself, or someone you know in a different way. Feel free to let us know via a like or in the comments. And if you want more wisdom and guidance in becoming a better version of yourself, subscribe now. This is the moment to start becoming the person you really want to be.